from the AdventFlame News Center. This is AFM News, the latest news from the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. Concise and credible news you can count on.
Hello and welcome to AFM News for September 12, 2020. I am Leondre Samuels. The opening of a new building at a Seventh-day Adventist university is always a cause for celebration, but the inauguration of a new women's dormitory at church-owned Samyuk University in Seoul, Republic of Korea, demonstrated that not even a global pandemic could halt the advance of the school's mission. Along with providing quality education in a number of undergraduate areas, as well as through 4 graduate programs, Samyuk is also a place where hundreds of non-Adventist students are exposed to the Christian gospel and the Adventist message, often for the first time. Only 1 in 6 of those accepted each year come from an Adventist background, an intentional decision by school officials to make the school a mission field as well as a place of learning. The new dormitory stands on the same location of an older, smaller one that was demolished to provide space for the new building. This new 5-story women's dormitory can accommodate 290 students. With this new addition, the university can provide lodging for 1,553 students. President of Samyuk University, Dr. Kim Il-mok, said, "We want to restore the image of God through these facilities." He was referring to all the dormitory buildings, Zion, Eden, Salem, and the newest one, Peniel. It was named Peniel as a remembrance of Jacob's victory as he struggled with the angel of the Lord by the ford of Jabbok, where he saw God and was preserved. The dormitory is a sign of God's glory shown to the campus. It is an acknowledgement that without God, mission cannot be accomplished. The dormitory is intended to be a residential college center at the university. Residential college is a combination of living and learning, which provides effective holistic education and various educational programs, so that students can experience creative and self-leading studies for becoming persons who are mission-minded, vision-oriented, and passionate about Christ. This is planned to promote the driving motto of the university, namely MVP, which stands for Mission, Vision, and Passion. This school year, Samyuk University has enrolled 5,517 undergraduate students and 458 graduate students. Seventh-day Adventist aged care facilities in Australia remain vigilant in their efforts to protect the safety of residents and staff amidst the coronavirus pandemic. The facilities have remained COVID-19 free since the pandemic began and are well prepared in the event of an outbreak, according to their CEOs. They have implemented strict infection control measures and are closely monitoring residents' health. COVID-19 outbreak management plans have been prepared. There is an adequate supply of personal protective equipment and pandemic response teams are in place. They are monitoring updates from health and medical authorities and following their directives. Management is also keeping a close eye on the mental well-being of residents and staff, with chaplains available to provide support. Another key focus is maintaining regular communication with residents, their families, and staff. At various times, the facilities have been in lockdown due to state government directives or where it is believed there is significant risk to residents and staff. CEO of Advent Care in Victoria, David Rees, said, "You can rest assured that we are doing everything possible to look after our residents' well-being and happiness. They are like our family, and we want them to feel valued, cared for, and comfortable." The Seventh-day Adventist Church operates 16 retirement villages and 13 residential aged care facilities in Australia. 1 year after Hurricane Dorian destroyed the islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama in the Bahamas, there are still reminders of the devastation and much still to rebuild. With the coronavirus pandemic still threatening in an island territory heavily dependent on tourism, Seventh-day Adventist leaders took time to pray for the nation and gave thanks for God's mercy and His protection during the current hurricane season and the pandemic crisis during a special online program on September 4, 2020. President of the North Bahamas Conference, Pastor Eric D. Clark, said, "We're here to thank God for how far He has brought us. For we recognize, but for the Lord, where would we be? We went through a special and particular way through Hurricane Dorian, but we want to reflect on how God has been so gracious to us." Eric Auguste can't forget the ordeal his family went through in his home in Abaco that fateful night on September 1, 2019. The 185-mile hurricane winds tore through his home, took his right arm, and swept his mother away. He has endured many surgeries and has been able to recover in the United States with his family since then. William Brown, a church member in Freeport, Grand Bahama, stood right in front of where he and his family had to swim from their house in 7 to 8 feet of water to get to safety as the hurricane raged on. He said, "I thank God even right now because He brought us through this. If it wasn't for the love and grace of God, I and my family would not be here. I stood on His word that He will never leave us nor forsake us." There have been 74 deaths related to COVID-19 in the Bahamas, with over 2,500 positive cases as of the first week of September, according to national statistics. Despite the disruption caused by the pandemic and the uncertainty and anxiety that many people feel, the church has doubled its efforts across the islands to offer hope. Many churches have engaged in online evangelistic efforts. As a result, more than 50 new believers have joined the church in the last 2 months. And finally, this week, Tunisia, located on the Mediterranean coast of Northwest Africa, was already suffering from economic hardship before COVID-19, but with the loss of jobs due to the pandemic, many people faced a financial crisis. The Adventist Development and Relief Agency's Unconditional Cash Project in Tunisia has been able to intervene through its unconditional cash transfers. Unconditional cash transfers are cash payments provided to financially disadvantaged people without requiring anything in return. ADRA provided 500 Tunisian dinars, about US $180 in cash assistance to approximately 580 individuals to help those hardest hit by the economic downturn. The small amount of cash makes a big difference for households receiving the cash assistance. In particular is the story of Nazia, shared by ADRA volunteers. Mohammed Ali and another ADRA volunteer were on their way home from delivering the unconditional cash funds in a nearby area when they spotted a middle-aged woman named Nazia pushing an old wooden wheelbarrow down the street with her son, who was crippled and was strapped into the wheelbarrow with a belt. Ali says, "As we watched her, we noticed her pace slowed as she pulled out an old phone and began calling someone. We heard the desperation in her voice as she began asking for food for her child. 'I have nothing to feed him,' we heard her cry out." Ali knew they had to do something, but they had given out all of the ADRA cash funds. They waited until she paused for rest and walked up to her. She looked at their badges and asked what ADRA represented. Ali told her, "We couldn't help but hear what you said. We're volunteers for the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, which is a global humanitarian organization." They went on telling her about ADRA and how they had been helping others in Tunisia. They learned that Nazia only received money equivalent to US $66 a month from the government for her child. With that, she was only able to get diapers and medicine, but very little else. She also collected plastic to recycle and sell in order to purchase food. Ali and the volunteer were also invited by Nazia to see her home. There was no running water nor electricity, and the toilet was beyond repair. Winters in Tunisia are long and windy, but she had no heat during the cold months. Her main desire, however, was to find a wheelchair for her son. The two volunteers asked for her contact information and promised to submit her name for unconditional cash funds. It was approved that Nazia was able to receive the unconditional cash. The money helped her and her family receive sustainable support for the time being. Ali says, "I know God put us there at the right place and the right moment to see the needs of this poor woman and her son." He adds, "We were able to make a difference in her life." We now take a short break on AFM News. Don't go anywhere. The health and wellness segment is next.
It was French journalist and philosopher Albert Camus who said, "Life is a journey, not a destination." How well are you enjoying the journey of your life? How fulfilled do you feel about your life? For me, I follow Jesus. Join us, your friends, the Adventist, for the I Follow Jesus Digital Evangelistic Series, October 3 to 17, Sundays to Fridays, 7:30 to 8:45 p.m., and on Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. I follow Jesus. How about you?
God wants you to have abundant life. Here's this week's health and wellness tip.
Welcome back to the Health and Wellness segment. This week on AFM Health and Wellness, the average human will carry an extra 10 to 20 pounds of toxins in their colon. Experts say that we should detox the colon twice a year to flush these toxins and cleanse the colon. Drinking lemon, ginger, and apple infused water will do just the trick. This colon detox will help you flush out toxins in the colon, promote weight loss, keep you hydrated, and decrease your chance of getting other illnesses. And that's it on this week's AFM Health and Wellness.
Way down deep inside, what is it that you most long for? What are the unmet needs of your life that drive you to find satisfaction in possessions, pleasure, achievements, addictions, in endlessly seeking something, anything to fill the undefined void inside? The answer is found in what may be to you the most unexpected place. Find the answer today. This is Focus on Hope.
Fear may be overwhelming you right now. Situations, persons, or experiences are controlling your life, and your adversary, the devil, is trying to steal your peace of mind. But God wants to tell you right now, do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord will personally go ahead of you. He will be with you. He will neither fail nor abandon you. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When you pass through the rivers, they will not flow over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The fire will not destroy you. You can have hope today. Don't give up. And that wraps up the AFM News package this week. Recapping this week's top news story. Adventist Church prays and continues to rebuild 1 year after Hurricane Dorian. On behalf of all of us here at AdventFlame Media, I am Leondre Samuels. Please enjoy the rest of your day.
This was AFM News. Concise and credible news you can count on. A production of AdventFlame Media. Sharing hope. Changing lives.
just Jamaica. There's an exciting growing phenomena that has everybody talking. From the classroom to the marketplace, there's one thing on everybody's lips.
Let's talk about him.
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 This is your personal invitation to join us for the Let's Talk About Him online evangelistic campaign, October 3 to 17, under the theme, I Follow Jesus, with the dynamic evangelist, Pastor Dane Fletcher, and his powerful co-evangelist and host, Pastor Omar Oliphant.
Let's talk about him.
We're asking that you register for the online Bible lessons at ltah.org. Complete all 14 lessons, and you will receive your certificate from the Herbert Fletcher University. Then, you encourage your non-Adventist friends to do the same. I follow Jesus.
I follow Jesus.
I follow Jesus.
I follow Jesus. Let's talk about him.
Let's talk about him.
Let's talk about him.